Well, Justin, thank you so much for stopping by the spoiler room, getting to talk about your film. I've been an admirer of your work for a while. You've got your newest film, Xanadu Hellfire, which one, I just love this title.
Thank
Uh,
you. I appreciate that.
uh, could you just before we get started, I always love getting it from the directors. Would mind giving my listeners just a little synopsis of what Xanadu Hellfire is about?
Xanadu Hellfire. It's about a 9-year-old girl who figures out a way to bring her super comic book hero um, from the comics, from the post-apocalyptic future to the present, just so she can hang out with her. I think that sums it up.
That sums it up very well without trying to get too spoilery. And yeah, now this takes place as I've deemed it. You could either call it the Armao cinematic universe or Justin cinematic universe
Oh, I
because
appreciate that. So when you said that in your review, a couple people contacted me and were laughing about that, the Armor Cinematic Universe. So yeah, we do like to tie things together for
which
sure.
you do, folks. If you're familiar with his other work, he came out with the Bloodsucker Jones film and the follow-up Bloodsucker Jones and the Creeping Death, was it? Or
Versus the Creeping Death.
versus the Creeping Death, thank
Yeah.
you. Two films which I love the Bloodsucker Jones character, and he shows up in here, and we'll talk about that. But first, where did Xanadu Hellfire, where this idea come from? Did you have it after you did Bloodsucker, or was it always kind of there?
Yeah. So what happened originally? It started with the name.
Hmm.
And in the first Bloodsucker Jones, there's a character in a distance who kicks someone in the balls in a montage.
Yeah.
And it was our makeup person, Olivia. And when I was making up names for all the characters, I'm like, that is the most obscure character. She's in the distance. You can't even see her. I need to give her the coolest name in the entire film. So I racked my brain for a while trying to think of what's the coolest name possible. And I love the movie Xanadu, and I named my daughter after Olivia Newton-John's character in Xanadu. My daughter's name is Kira.
Oh, nice.
And so I love the word Xanadu. It's just so cool
It
and
is.
what it means too.
Hmm.
And then Hellfire, I just thought that's a badass that's a badass word, like two words that go together. So I came up with the name, and then in part two, we were gonna have that character like in a flashback
Sure.
of Bloodsucker Jones, like something, and but it didn't work out, and the movie was so long
Mm,
anyway that we never even got around to it.
sure.
We'd even cast somebody, and but then right after that, after we finished Bloodsucker Jones 2, I think I started writing the script. And then I kind of put it in a drawer for a little bit. And then
Hmm.
I took it out. Then I was stuck at work for on the weekends for something.
Sure.
And I just took it to work. And so I was babysitting some like carpenters or something. And I just wrote it, or it just finished it up.
Sure.
And then I sent it to my friend Erica, who
Mm.
runs Atomic Cotton t-shirts, and they're friends of mine from the conventions, because I wanted because this is all about girls. It's like super
Yes.
mega girl
Yes.
power. And it's a trick because I was a single dad, and the central characters is a single dad and his
Hmm.
daughter. So I always wanted to make a movie about that. So it's kind of a tribute to me and my daughter. And then I wanted to have her read it. And then I sent it to Tristan Risk, who originally was going to be play
Mm.
the
Hmm.
sister, but
Sure.
she had a this was during COVID, and
Right. Yeah.
she moved to Australia, so she wasn't able to get out here. Um, so they both read it, and I just wanted their opinion on it. As long as two badass girls that I know didn't think I was full of shit, then I thought I had a cool movie.
and,
And
and
yeah,
and Tristan still gets to be in here, in a
yes,
picture.
yeah. We have a poster of her, and she makes these cool little like dragon like
Yeah.
stuffed
Yeah.
animal
Hmm.
characters and things. They're really cool, really intricate. And we there's pictures of those all over her room too, all over her bedroom. So yeah, she's there. She's there in spirit. We had to have her there. So
Yeah, I love those little dragon characters. I've been following Tristan Risk for a number of years for all the indie stuff that she does, and I've always admired her work and just getting her see even to the posters, just seeing
Yeah.
her in there. I appreciated that nod quite a bit, and the fact that you, and I love that you gave the script to someone else and said, "Hey, look this over and make sure I don't have this." Like I'm doing this dialogue completely wrong because
Yeah.
there's some movies out there that are female centric, but you could tell they were written by a guy.
Yeah, and I had like so what one of the things I wanted to do like a female centric movie is
Yeah.
the this girl Jessica Dirks who played my girlfriend in both Bloodsucker Jones
Mm.
movies. After we screened the first one, we had dinner. All of us had dinner afterwards, and I said, "Oh, well, you guys want to do a sequel?" And then I asked her, what do you think? Do you have any ideas?" And she goes, "Do you have anything, any opinion on that?" And she just goes, "Just one thing." She goes, "I want to be as cool as you guys. I want the cool dialogue. I want to say the ridiculous, awesome things." And I really took that to heart and like gave her better lines in the second one. And and I thought, yeah, I'll do that from now on. Make, just focus on making the female characters even cooler. So that was
and
one of the reasons.
and they are cool in this. And what I liked about how you handled it is it didn't feel forced or whatever whatever the tagline is right now of people saying, "Oh, this is woke" or whatever. It
Right.
didn't feel like that at all with this. Was that something that you kind of wanted to make sure that it's just its own thing? This is its own story. You're not trying to exactly like make a statement or something.
Yeah, I'm not a big statement person. I don't have a
Sure.
lot,
Sure.
but it's got a small anti-bullying message
Well, yeah.
a little
Yeah.
bit,
Mhm.
which is kind of cool. But that just kind of came about naturally. But I didn't go into it. I mean, when I go into making movies, it's just to make something fun
Sure.
and the most entertaining movie for me to watch by myself, and then hopefully other people like it too. So I'm just making it for me because I there's no money in it yet. So like
Sure.
I sure as hell better like it. So yeah.
You're not the first filmmaker I've talked to who says, "Well, I make the movie for myself so I could watch it, and if anyone else likes it, hey, that's the perk."
It's a bonus. But
It's a
the fact
bonus.
that the stuff I like is stuff a lot of people like.
Mhm.
So I knew it would translate to people and they would,
What and what I enjoyed, you talk about fun. I really enjoyed Macy's spirit in this and her interaction with Arya, who plays Ruby, the young girl, I think it is. And tell me a little bit about that. Did they spend a lot of time together? I mean, they kind of knew each other, I imagine. So
they met on the first day of
did they
shooting.
really?
They did.
Wow.
So Macy was the very first person we cast, other than
Sure.
because I'm in it and a couple other people I know are in it.
Mhm.
They were cast already because I wrote the parts for them. But she was the first person I didn't know that we cast. And she was also the first person that submitted to the
Mm.
casting and the first
Sure.
person to send an audition tape out of hundreds of people. And she was incredible. And it was a
Mhm.
no-brainer. She was amazing. And yeah, her performance is so good. She's perfect. She's just such a good actress. And Aria, she does tons of commercials,
Mhm.
animation, gymnastics. She's this little dynamo, a super go-getter. And yeah, they just hit it off. They just connected like instantly when we were on
Mhm.
set. They just became friends, and all the kids were they just had such a good time on set with everybody.
And it seemed like it, and that's what I so loved with the spirit of this is that just everybody seems to be having fun, as the kids say, or they don't even say it anymore, but they used to say they knew the assignment, right? They knew what
Right.
you were making, and everybody was having fun in this, and even your villains are having a lot of fun
Oh, they're having the
in
best
here.
time.
They're having the best time.
They're having the best time.
Tell me about casting your villains, because you got the great Xanadu. How do you cast for the counter person for that?
So Erica, who's my friend who read the script, she when
Mhm.
I after I sent it to her, she asked, she goes, "I want to be in this movie." And so I actually wrote and I kind of geared the Valeria character towards her and her personality. And I mean, she loves this stuff. She was born to play this. She loves Conan, the
Hence the name.
the
Hence the
name
name.
Valeria. Yep. And so she was perfect, and I said,
Sure.
okay, I said we'll fly you out here, and I know her. She's so cool. I just had a feeling she could do it, and she was a little nervous on her first day,
Sure.
just her first day, her first scene, and then and it just clicked after she did a few takes, and then she was just like incredible.
Hmm.
So we cast her, and I knew her, and then we just through a casting agency we found her sidekick Sonia and um Ariana who played
Yes.
um Raven. So
Hmm.
once Tristan was not able to do it,
Sure.
we started looking. That was kind of the final piece of the puzzle. She was the
Hmm.
last person we cast, um, and she was incredible.
Hmm.
She dressed as the character in her audition and did her own makeup. And
Wow.
basically the makeup she has in the movie and the hairstyle she has, she
Hmm.
made up herself, and we liked it, and she used that. So everybody got to here's the thing, everybody got to design, a lot of people got to design their own clothes. So Macy
Hmm.
picked, I gave her like 200 things to pick from, and
Yeah.
she literally picked the exact three or four things that had in the back of my mind. I hope she picks those things.
Nice.
I wanted her to be comfortable in it. And then
Sure.
Erica helped come up with the concept of the two,
Hmm.
the goons as we call them. They're it's kind of based on Double Dragon. They got like
Yeah.
denim vests and and then Ariana, we ordered a costume for her from like Italy,
Mm.
and this beautiful leather costume, and we found out like within like 10 days before it wasn't going to arrive on time. So
Oh no.
we panicked and we started to find all this stuff, and I sent her these corsets and all these things, and finally her costume was just like a $13 Halloween witch costume, like with a hood on it, but she had great style. She added like the black corset we bought, and
Sure.
like an armband, and yeah,
Hmm.
they're all
No,
just so cool. Yeah, these girls are so cool.
well, yeah, the outfits were cool. I mean, the setting and everything, this world that they existed in the post-apocalyptic world before we even get to the modern world. I loved that setup. I mean, you've got a lot of stuff going on here. Makeup effects, you got a lizard person. I mean, you've
Yeah.
got you've got a lot of things going on here. Shooting in the desert, which I imagine couldn't have been easy. Tell me about how that all kind of came together, that the apocalypse scenes.
Yeah, well, we're gonna write the apocalypse, and we gotta, we always write first and then figure out how to do it later.
Sure,
It's
sure.
like the reverse of the Robert Rodriguez. Oh, if you have a bus, write a bus into your thing.
Right.
Well, we do that if we have a bus, but we also tend to just write the movie we see in our heads and then go, okay, oh shit, we got to make it now. What do we do?
Sure.
So, like, we went through Gigster. There's a site called Gigster and a
Okay.
site called Peerspace, and it's basically like Uber or Airbnb type
Hmm.
things for just locations. And this
Oh.
location we found used to be like a resort that some rich guy owned, and he just brought his friends out there to ride motorcycles. It has a lake and like these cabanas and like a swing chair, and it's got like a loft, and it's got a pier and all these cool things, and it's got like a garbage pit of cool stuff. And because they rent it out to all these, from like influencers to major motion
Sure.
pictures,
Hmm.
like we were kicked out off our set. The Florence Pugh movie Don't Worry Darling kicked
Oh
us off our
no.
set, yeah, to film their scenes, because like, yeah, in that movie, they're in the
Wow.
same exact desert as we are. So which was, and then yeah, we spent like we are gonna spend 4 days, spent 3 days there.
Uh-huh.
We had to all sleep in hotels. Logistically, it was crazy. And luckily it was in January and it didn't rain, so it was pretty
Mm.
cool. And it had just enough amount of wind to make everything look cool. And then, but we brought a leaf blower with us to blow all the capes and stuff.
I love it.
And but the coolest thing was they kicked us off that fourth day, and we had to find a new location. So we
Mhm.
found an abandoned water park, which was even better. So we had to do a whole training sequence in an abandoned water park. It was way more money, but it was so worth it. It was such a cool place. So
Visually, it was very fitting too, and yeah, I love the training montage you have
yeah,
in
it's
here.
super cool. All shot in one day.
Really
Yeah.
nice. The mentor that you had for Xanadu, she real. I'm like watching her. I'm like, wow. I mean, she's like she could literally really kick someone's ass. Where
Yeah.
did you
Oh,
find?
she's been doing martial arts since she was 6.
Uh-huh.
She's from Russia. Her name's Mina Matukina,
Hmm.
but she's just got married. Her name's Amina Holmes, and she's incredible. Like she actually she sent in an audition for Xanadu,
Hmm.
but she's since she's from Russia, she has an accent. The accent didn't
Oh.
fit into the world
Hmm.
because Xanadu had to have a mother and sisters and stuff, so it wouldn't fit. But I remember her reel, and her reel blew me away. It blew me away. And then I thought, I need someone to teach him bow staff, how to do a bow staff. So I'm like, I remember her reel, and then I just message her and say, hey, can do you do training? Because I'd like to teach these girls. And she goes, absolutely. So she trained Xanadu. She trained for like 4 months. And then when we cast Ariana, she trained, and then they trained together. They all
Hmm.
trained at Robert Downey Jr.'s gym, I think,
Oh, really?
out in Santa Monica, and they put together the fight. Like I had lunch with them and I just said, here's the fight. It kind of has to go like this. And I want you guys to figure it out and make it your
Nice.
own. It just this has to happen or this has to happen, but just make it your own. And they came up with the whole thing
Hmm.
and it was all choreographed and yeah, it was pretty cool. And then yeah, Amina is just crazy. And then what happened was I'm like, what if we did a flashback? Because we were just like, she's so cool. How do we not have her in the movie?
Yeah.
I messaged her and said, "Hey, do you want to be in a flashback as the trainer?" And she said, "Absolutely." Yeah, and she picked her name. She named her character after her sister, which is really cool.
That is cool.
So sometimes you can let people pick their character names and things like
Mhm.
that. So
Well, I mean, it seems like you're a director that is open to suggestion and such because you hear some not horror stories, but you hear some to where, no, this is the script, this is what I wrote, this is what you're going to do. But it seems to be a more collaborative feel on your set. Is that what you try to go for? It kind of
oh,
feels that way.
definitely, because I did I mean, I did tons of extra work and acting
Hmm.
when I was younger, and I was on like 90210 and Boy Meets World and
Sure.
Showgirls and all these movies and stuff. But then I started to do acting and commercials, and I did a short film for a friend.
Hmm.
And I thought of an idea I thought would be funny. I pitched it to him, and he let me do it, and it got a huge laugh when we did it in the theater.
Hmm.
And it was so exhilarating. I was like, wow, I'll if I ever direct something or make a movie, if someone has an idea and it sounds good, I'll let them do it because they'll be more
Hmm.
invested in it.
Sure.
And everybody will think I came up with it anyway. So I always tell people that I'm like, they're gonna think I came up with that. But I do, yeah, mention that, yeah. So there's so many ideas in this movie
Sure.
that came from other people. So
Hmm.
many lines, and sometimes yeah, lots of a decent amount of improv.
Sure.
People follow the like for the most part, but there's a lot of jokes and a lot of cool things in
Now,
there. That's yeah.
now, did you kind of work out the rules a bit of the world? Because sometimes in world building, especially fantasy, it doesn't seem like there's rules. And here you actually have that. It was like it felt like a thought out world, which again I appreciate because I like that helps immerse you in it, and it helps some limits and people understand what you're doing with the magic rather than just, oh look, now we're doing a power ball. Oh, now we're just
Right. Yeah, I mean, I kind of thought that, and that was a lot of that was just in the script,
sure.
and through revisions, and then,
Mhm.
I mean, I sent the script to other people, like my friend Randy Van Dyke, who's a director, has directed 3 features.
Mhm.
He was like executive producer, and he did all the effects, and he was the camera operator, and he just did so many things, and he has so many great ideas, and so much of this movie is him,
Mhm.
just that influence. And yeah, we just built the world and we'd come up with certain things. And then people came up with character traits and, certain people were cosplayers. They had almost the entire costume was their own costume. Sometimes we just found helmets and cool things on Etsy.
Sure.
Sometimes we made them. Yeah, just all over the place. So
Well,
yeah,
well,
and I love those type of movies. So
it seems organized, but yeah, with a post-apocalyptic film though, you have more freedom to just anybody grabbed anything to make something out of nothing, a football helmet
Oh,
or
totally.
a
Yeah.
staff
Yeah.
or
Motorcycle goggles and wooden staffs from Home Depot that my mom painted,
that's
and
awesome.
weapons. Yeah. All sorts of weapons. And
That
yeah,
that's wonderful. And now, you what I what caught me with this is, uh, it's and not offensive at all. It just surprised me how actually family friendly your film was, Xanadu Hellfire. I know because you kind of probably have a young lead, but still,
yeah,
I appreciated that, but it was still fun. Was that what you're kind of going for with it?
kind of. And basically, probably just because there are kids in it, it is
Sure.
family friendly. I mean, it's still like legally rated R, kind of because of the language.
Right.
Because we
Yeah.
always forget how much language there is in it. But it's still pretty tame, though, as far as, I mean, I do wish it was bloodier, but we just didn't have time to do a lot the things.
Sure.
In the
Mhm.
sequel, the sequel will be much bloodier, probably, and much just bigger and crazier. But
What?
yeah, it just kind of, one of the notes I got was like it put more heart into it,
Mhm.
and it kind of evolved into that to be a little more heartwarming, a little more fun, but it still had the Bloodsucker Jones edge to it, and
Yeah.
still had some colorful language. And we always had the kids cursing, and with their, there's nothing funnier than a 9-year-old
No.
saying numbnuts, calling someone numbnuts or something, or dipshit. I mean, it's just nothing makes me happier than to see that.
I don't know who made me laugh more when they were delivering their swear words, Arya or Chloe, who plays Becky. The best Becky was like another level.
Yeah, she's incredible, right? And she just happened to be our second choice for to play Ruby.
Mm. Hmm.
And I think Arya was just a little bit older, and
Sure.
she kind of looked like she fit with the guy we already cast for the dad and stuff. And but we loved Chloe so much, and we're like, we have to put her in this somewhere, as the second. Her part grew too.
Hmm.
And yeah, I don't know who's better at delivering cuss words, but they're so great at it. And at one point, like they were just coming up to me, like Chloe would just come up to me and pitch me cuss words, and she would just combine two cuss words together. And I'm like, no, we can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. But she would say, but there was a great moment on set where I go, oh, can you call this guy a jerkwad? And she goes, I don't know. Let me ask my mom. Let me ask my mom. And she gets up off the set, and you just hear her little feet like tapping, running to her
Yeah.
mom, and you don't see her mom. All she hears, "Hey, mom, can I say jerkwad?" And you just hear her mom, Nicole, who's super awesome. She goes, "Well, you said everything else in this movie. It's just don't say any f bombs." And she goes, "Okay, thanks." And she ran back to set and delivered jerkwad so perfectly.
I think that's what is part of the appeal, the sheer joy that the your young actresses are having swearing. You can tell they're dripping. These lines when they swear are just
Oh
dripping. I'm like,
yeah.
you've got adults who swear and you got Tarantino, but the way they're saying it, it's
Yeah.
just like another level of edge.
Oh, totally. And you could tell they love doing it. And I tried to give them really creative ones, all the
Sure.
silliest ones. So yeah, oh my God, they're the best. They're both so incredible. And they had such a good time on set. And they made
Yeah.
the set even better. There's something they say, don't work with animals and kids. It's just too difficult. But I love working with kids because they're so much fun, and they come up with cool stuff. And yeah, it's great.
And yeah, I was gonna ask you that because that's what you usually hear. Don't work with animals and kids, and it's like, it sounds like and I think sometimes that maybe spawned from how directors or whatever perceive the kids because
Yeah.
it sounds you're looking at the kids as the talent for your movie, and rather than just well you're a kid so you can't really have input on
Right, right.
this.
Yeah, what we're really careful in doing is when we cast people, we're so scared when we cast people. We're like, we're basically casting friends. That's what we think of. We think, hey, is that guy gonna be my friend? I want to be friends with
Mhm.
everyone we cast. And I don't want it to be a business relationship. I want it to be
Right.
friends, and I want to know them forever, hopefully. And with kids, we try to cast almost their parents too, not necessarily in the
Hmm.
movie, but to know if their parents are cool,
Right.
we got a cool kid. But the best thing, and I recommend to people, if you're casting a child part, even if it's in the script, put some cussing in there, because if the parent doesn't blink with the cussing and they deliver the cussing, you know you have a cool parent and you have a cool kid, and they're going to be so easygoing, and it's just a great way to find the right people. But then
And
again, like they so many people had no hesitation with letting their kids cuss. The auditions were so great, just seeing one 8 and 9 year old after another cussing, like it was so cool.
and the audience loves it when kids cuss. Let's face it,
Oh,
kids cussing
totally.
is just always great, especially if they're done well, which they are here. Now, speaking of friends, I feel like he's a cinematic friend. You worked Bloodsucker Jones into this. Was he
Yeah.
always planned to be with his? Was it a badass burgers or?
No, no, he wasn't, which is weird. I knew I wanted to put him in there somewhere, and then
Sure.
we had, I can't remember the name, but we had a burger place name. I
Mhm.
don't remember what it was, and then I'm like, oh, it'll just be this name. That's a cool name. And then I looked it up online, and there was a franchise. I'm
Oh.
like, I'm all, oh shit. And then I thought of another one, and it was another burger place. I'm like, and I just kept looking. I'm like, damn it. And then I looked over, and I had the poster right in front of my desk, and I went, what am I thinking of? And instantly I'm like, Suckus Badass Burgers. He'll be the manager. His sidekick will be the hostess,
Hostess.
and that's it. And we'll make a logo, and case closed. And I just emailed my friend Andy Cobble, who played he played Harley. He played uh one of the workers inside the restaurant,
Sure.
and he does a lot of our graphics. I said, I need a logo. I need a burger logo, Suck as Badass Burgers. And he was like, on it. So, yeah, like a week later, we had the logo and everything. Now we have t-shirts and all that stuff.
Uh,
So,
well, yeah, because I mean, I'd eat at Sucka's badass
oh, I,
burgers.
I would too. There's a slight chance one day we would make a movie that's just about the restaurant itself.
It'd I'm picturing a Clerks type thing, only it's
Oh,
with
totally.
blood suck.
Like Clerks meets Waiting, like that
Yeah,
Ryan Reynolds movie. Totally, yeah. Because we found this super cool restaurant, and it was so fun to. But it was funniest thing was a seafood restaurant. So it's got like all these
sure.
ropes, like there's a boat. It looks like there was a boat in there, and all these stained glass boats and stuff. So that's why we added the line that it used to be a Kurt Russell's fish and chips. So so it made sense.
Sorry, I just loved that it was Kurt Russell's fish and chips, just because it sounds like something that would exist.
It does, and we're we'll make it a seafood place. I'm like, who would be the funniest person to own a seafood place? I'm like, Kurt
Kurt
Russell, man.
Russell.
Hell yeah.
Now, where did Bloodsucker Jones come from? Because I've adored this character quite a bit, and we've got him in 3 movies now. And
Yeah.
where did this spawn from?
So I wanted to make movies for a long time, and back when I was still doing extra work and stuff, and I was kind of somewhat done doing that, and I was doing some commercials, and I had my daughter full time, so I thought, oh, I'll write a movie, I'll write a feature. So I wrote a
Mhm.
feature called The Unfortunate Cookie that we shot half of. And a lot of the jokes in Bloodsucker Jones I stole from that script, so it still lives on kind of.
Sure.
And we cast Preston. Preston, me and him did like a lot of commercials together and stuff.
Mhm.
And he was a friend of a friend. And I met him, and anybody who meets Preston falls in love with him
Sure.
in 1 second. He's literally the guy who'll give the shirt off his back. And how do I know this? One time when we were filming Bloodsucker Jones 2, we have this kid named Scott, this goth kid who goes on this 15-minute side adventure to get a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And we're telling the actor, yeah, we're gonna go up to meet Preston. He's Bloodsucker Jones. He found this little desert area. I said, he's the nicest guy. He'll give you the shirt off his back. So we're shooting, and I tore my shirt.
Yeah.
fall down the dirt, and I tore my shirt, was all bloody and stuff. And I go, oh my shirt's all bloody. I look over, and he had already taken his shirt off and handed it to me. This was like just 2 hours after I told the guy he would
Sure.
give you the shirt off his back. So I'm like, yeah. So like he played like my best friend in this movie that we never finished. I hope to make something with it. I hope to like maybe use some footage and flashbacks or something.
Sure, sure.
So it was pretty fun. Like in the movie, there was a flashback with him, and he had like these dreadlock wig and stuff. And I don't know, I was just acting across from him one day, and it just popped in my head. Oh man, I want to write a movie where this guy's like a vampire hunter with this really cool. He's got this really cool deep voice, and I'm gonna do that. And like I told him that, and he's like, yeah, like, oh, Eddie Murphy and Vampire in Brooklyn, I'll have the long hair. I'm like, no, asshole, you're gonna have an afro. Come on, like that movie sucks anyway. So like I said, no, you're gonna have an afro. You're gonna be like Shaft or something. And he goes, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. So then I wrote Bloodsucker Jones in like 2000,
Hmm.
and then I put it in a drawer until my daughter was old enough to kind of take care of herself. And in 2008, I was saving money too. So
Sure.
in 2008, I brought it out of dusted it off and finished it. And then yeah, I bought a pair of white patent leather shoes as motivation. I'm like, oh shit, we bought the shoes, so there's no turning back now.
We got the
So
shoes.
that was the whole genesis of it. So yeah, I just
Nice.
thought that'd be a fun thing to make. So
And fun it was. And I'm glad it gained a following. You got a sequel, and now we have Xanadu Hellfire here. So how long did it take you to shoot Xanadu Hellfire?
14 and a half days.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a that's a
shocking.
that's a tight schedule for what all was involved. That is very impressive.
Yeah, the opening scene took one day. So we
Hmm.
shot that. This was the very first thing we shot. We went out to that desert location for one day to so we had footage for our Indiegogo.
Hmm.
So our Indiegogo was all shot in that day, like a sizzle reel, and then a lot of it's in the opening scene.
Hmm.
So we shot that, and then we shot the newscaster stuff on a half day, and then we shot for like 12 days in a row, not or 12 days within like 2 weeks. We had 12
Sure.
days, and we had to like 1 or 2 days off in January of 2022, and then
Hmm.
we came back and did two pickup days, one at the water park, and then one at a couple other locations. Because what happened was, um, Ariana, who played Raven, this was right in the middle of COVID.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, she got COVID like
Mm.
3 days before we started shooting.
Oh man.
So we had to change the entire script. So every day we
Sure.
had to talk to her
Hmm.
and find out, are you negative yet? And when she wasn't negative, I had to rewrite the script a little more for what we were shooting. So that's why in the movie, the goons come through the portal before her
Mm.
because we shot that stuff later and got to add it to the
Sure.
explanation later. So that's why she's by herself because they were all supposed to come. So a lot of Raven's lines went to the goons because, and then we just kind of followed the goons' path with her looking for everybody, going to the same few locations and fit her in that way. So yeah, so I had to do an extra day of pickups to fit her
Mhm.
back in the movie and other places because she tested negative and then she was able to shoot the last 3 or 4 days.
Well, at least you're able to get to shoot with her still because
Yeah, and it worked out, and it made the movie
uh,
better because it's
mhm.
funnier with the goons coming through, and it's cooler with her by herself, just causing havoc coming through because she's just so angry. That character is just so mad.
I
And
loved the goons too. The goons were great.
yeah, they're incredible. That everyone comments on how cool the goons are, and they were just so yeah. The other goon, so Libby
Mhm.
Wallmeyer, who plays Sonia, she's a comedian and improver, and she's just
Mhm.
incredible. Like, and them two together, they're like, forget about it. They're just awesome.
And yes, folks, if you haven't picked up on the names, you've got Valeria, you've got Sonia, you've got Becky. We have a character in here named Krull. Thank you. I
Yes.
I
Do you love Crawl?
I love Krull.
I love Crawl. I
Krull.
totally love Crawl.
I think Krull is just a batshit amazing sci-fi that you're just like, this is made during a time when people weren't sure what they were doing, but they had some cool ideas, so they put it together.
Totally. I love Crawl so much. We almost bought a glaive to put in the background of Crawl's workshop.
Sure.
But I was so broke at the time, like I can't buy a glaive. Who can afford a glaive? So maybe next time we'll put a glaive in there
You
in
put a
part
glaive.
two. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that movie. I remember seeing it as a kid, and you get to the one point where I just didn't understand a thing of what was going on with the monster and the ship and the girl, the whole surreal, like,
Right. Yeah,
you're
the
like,
monster's this giant thing in the background. He's huge, like on a screen, it almost seems like it's a weird movie, man. But it's cool. The designs of everything are really cool.
oh yeah.
All the warriors were super cool. And yeah, I love Krill.
It that's part of the reason why I enjoy your films, because they're kind of an amalgamation of a couple or more different genres, and that's why I like things, growing up with that, those were always my favorite films, like Krull, which took fantasy and sci-fi and
Yeah.
smashed it together.
Oh, totally, totally. Yeah.
And Sonia, of course, Red Sonia.
Yep.
Big
Exactly.
Conan fan.
Yeah. And we
Um,
that's why we chose a redhead to play Sonia. And
I
luckily she was the
got
best
that.
one too. So there's so many Easter eggs and things in this.
Uh,
It's everything means something in it, I think. And almost every name means something. And
mhm.
yeah, it's a big love letter to movies in
Yeah,
general, I think.
it reminded me of the spirit of Turbo Kid, which is another genre movie that's
Oh,
done
totally.
done right. For
Yeah.
me, out of that movie, I would just watch Apple. The character Apple in
Yes,
that movie
absolutely.
is just like, the first time I watched it, I'm like, how is a character like this in a movie like this?
I
Because
love that character. So here's a funny thing. Um, I think her name's Lawrence
Mhm.
LaBeouf or something, who
Yeah,
plays
yeah.
Apple. She was our first choice to play Xanadu, actually.
Oh, was she
And we
really?
tried to get a hold of her, and I think we got a hold of someone, and she was just she's from Canada, and she was shooting multiple things at
Oh,
the same time, I think.
sure.
And so I think we never really got close to her, but that was the thought, because I she looks cool, and I love it. It's my favorite character in Turbo Kid. So
She
yeah, that was a thought, yeah, at one point.
Not a surprise she's shooting multiple things, because she was just in that role. She's the most she's like, as much as I love that whole movie, she's the most memorable character. And in this one, you've got a lot of fun memorable characters. I really liked Xanadu, though. I thought she was a well balanced character in here. The villains, Raven, Hellfire was awesome. The look of it, everything. I, this is what it's films like this, that, and I'm not just saying it because you're here. It's
Yeah,
films
yeah,
like
no.
this that I
I
really
felt in
enjoy.
your review, we appreciate your review made everyone so stoked and happy.
Oh,
Like I
well,
really felt it, and I sincerely appreciate it. Like I was waiting, because I remember you're asking like, can I get a screener? Like I'm ready to review it. I'm ready to review it. I'm
yeah.
like, and you were the guy I was most excited to send it to, but
Oh,
I
well,
wanted to
thank
wait
you.
till it was
Sure.
totally done. And then yeah, you didn't disappoint, which was
Well,
cool.
well, thank you, because you didn't disappoint. This is just a fun genre film done right. Because I've seen it done with smaller budgets and just the challenges, and it sounds like you've overcome a lot of challenges. It sounds like you had a great cast, and it all comes through on screen for
Well, thank you.
this. And yeah, and it's one of the better genre post-apocalyptic indie films I've seen, just because of the
Thank you.
heart. And I think too, you don't take yourself too seriously with
Yeah.
film, because I think that's sometimes a misstep too, is like, well, we're gonna make a series. No, you've got you've
Right.
got a comic book character coming to life for a young girl. I'm like, and you play it straight. I mean, was it a balance, trying to find, to where you don't go maybe too silly, but at the same time maybe not so serious? Did you have to find a
Yeah,
balance?
it was a little more Bloodsucker Jones, a little more silly in the
Hmm.
beginning, like the script. But I remember who Randy Van Dyke, he sent back his main note was that he loved it, but he goes, I would tone down the silliness of it
Hmm.
and pump up like the heart of it. He goes, because
Hmm.
that's what really got him. Like he thought, I think this is really something, like the and then when we were watching, like some of the stuff got us choked up after we filmed it, like, and we're like, oh wow, okay, we made the right choice, and we toned down a few things, and which is cool. Like some of the things that we toned down and took out,
Mhm.
those characters, we're going to put them in Bloodsucker Jones, the final Bloodsucker Jones, hopefully, if we ever make it. So those characters, those things and ideas will live on. Yeah, but there's a
Nice.
couple crazy things, and I'm glad we toned it down. So it was a
Mhm.
balance between the funny and the because we had Brad, the computer hacker, who's the same
Yes.
exact character from Bloodsucker Jones versus Creeping
Yes.
Dead, and one of my all-time favorite characters that we've ever had. And he's just so good and so funny,
Don't touch the collectibles. Don't touch.
right? I mean, he's incredible. Those two scenes with him, or three scenes, just make me laugh just looking at him.
They were a lot of fun. Yeah. And the thing is, I know people like that.
Right?
So,
Totally. Yeah.
so what's next for you? You mentioned Xanadu Hellfire possible sequel. I'm waiting for the third Bloodsucker Joan film. I hope,
Yeah,
I don't care how old it is. I can't wait.
yeah, we're gonna make it. It may be many years before we make it, but
Sure.
we were gonna do two, but it just won't be possible to do this. So many
Right.
people moved away and live in other places. We're gonna have to
Sure.
fly them in and figure out how to do it. So what
Right.
I'm doing is I'm combining the script for the third and the fourth, which
Mm,
were both partially written, into one epic. It will
sure.
be the most epic movie we ever make. It will be
Nice.
insane. It goes into the future, like the post-apocalypse, another planet, like or something, and it's crazy. Xanadu may even appear in that movie.
Hey,
It may cross worlds.
you gotta get across worlds. You gotta
Yeah,
keep
so we
that.
definitely want to make that,
Mhm.
and it'll be called Bloodsucker Jones and the Princess of Darkness.
Mm.
And
I love that title. I
me
love
too.
that
Yeah,
title.
yeah.
It's
I love John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness, and the logo is stolen right from their font, right for sure.
sure, sure.
And
Uh,
yeah, so we have a sequel to Xanadu, which I started writing. It's called Witches of the Wasteland. So it's kind of the reverse. So like this movie is like 25% post-apocalypse, 75% in the present.
right.
The second movie will be 75% in the post-apocalypse. So everybody in the present's gonna head out to the future and
Nice.
then come across all these other characters and come across a third sister, and hopefully, and that's written for Tristan, and
Mhm.
hopefully she'll be able to do that. So she'll play the third Hellfire sister, call it named Domino Hellfire.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice. Oh,
and
that sounds great. And that's a true spirit of like those 80s sequels to where, okay, we did this fish out of water where we had the future, the past. Now we're gonna
yeah,
take the past into the future.
yeah, totally. It's like Beastmaster 2 through the portal
Yes.
of time. As bad as that movie is, I still love it. It's so fucking ridiculous. And but yeah, we have a lot of movies we want to make. We have this roller skating, like it's our Sundance movie, we call it. It's kind of
Sure.
like our just indie comedy about
Mm,
about a mother and daughter who are losing like a roller rink. And but right now, so I'm headed tomorrow, I'm headed to Arizona to Mad Monster Party,
mm.
um, to promote the movies and sell the Blu-rays and t-shirts. And I go
Right.
right from there and I drive to the Xanadu Hellfire Desert locations where we're shooting an anthology called Party of Darkness. And
Nice.
basically it's all of our friends who are directors. So
Sure.
we've snowballed and just they've gathered us and we've gathered them, and it's just rolling down this hill and it's growing, and we act in their things and they act in ours, and we do camera on theirs and they're camera people on ours. And there's so many directors work on our movie too. So we wanted to get them all together and do, so they wrote their own shorts, and we have a wraparound. So we're shooting. So one of the shorts is already shot, and we're shooting two shorts over 2 days there in the desert at night. So that's our next movie, is Party of Darkness, and it's our bloodiest movie by far. It'll be our most offensive movie by far, our most R-rated movie, and it's yeah, it opens with a very throwback 80s VHS type horror movie type thing,
Nice.
and it's really cool. It's really silly about five friends who get together to watch movies at a cabin in the woods, man.
There you
And
go. Yeah.
like this satellite goes out and they can't watch movies, so they each have to tell stories, so they tell a
Mm.
story, and that's where the shorts come in.
Oh,
So
that
should be
sounds
pretty cool.
that does sound cool. That's a cool
Yeah,
wraparound. Yeah, I've got shelves of VHS over here. I can
I love your
relate.
room. I like That it just looks like, is that your house?
Yes,
Because
this
that
is
looks
my
like
house.
it just looks like a video store.
Well,
Like that.
the shelf is from Family Video, legitimately. So,
Awesome. That's very cool. I have the same room upstairs next to my
uh,
office. There was this bonus room when I bought this place, and I turned it into a small version of what you got there. So
nice.
yeah.
Nice. Well, I guess my final question is, second final, but what would you say your favorite sci-fi film is then, or post-apocalyptic? Let's go post-apocalyptic. What?
Oh God. The Road Warrior,
Mhm.
because that was, I saw it when I was 12 or 13,
Sure.
and it was so violent and incredible. It just blew me because I saw it on my birthday.
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, mom, on my birthday, we're gonna go see the Road Warrior. It's like, that's it. Case closed. We got to go see the Road Warrior because my dad had taken me to see Mad Max, which was
Sure.
cool, and that's definitely my favorite. But
Yeah.
I like almost, if it's post-apocalyptic, I love it. Like, from
Yeah.
Space Hunter to Turbo Kid,
Oh,
I
Space
love
Hunter.
it so
Space
much.
Hunter. Overdog.
Yep,
Overdog. How can you
yep.
beat Overdog? Or the other one I tell people that they never heard of, but they probably should have is Damnation Alley.
I
I
haven't
don't
seen that in so long. Yeah,
that
that's a good one. Yeah,
when J. Michael Vincent for like 5 minutes was just the guy in Airwolf, and
seriously.
so he was like everywhere.
Totally. Yeah. He was so cool, man. He was in Big Wednesday. Like, he was a huge for a short period of time. Yeah.
He's one of those flash in the pan type of guys where he was a hot commodity and he was just everywhere. And then he wasn't. It was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. It's a bummer. Yeah.
but Damnation Alley, I love it. George Papard and him in there, and yeah, that's one of my favorites. And
What's your
yeah,
favorite? Do you have a favorite post-apocalyptic movie?
oh, they're tough to pick. I Road Warriors near the top, I would say. I did enjoy Fury Road as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's incredible. It's a masterpiece. It's just absurdly good.
Fury Road
Yeah.
was so much better than I thought it would be, and it turned out to be probably one of my favorite mainstream action films in the last 20 years, in all honesty. It
Oh,
really
absolutely. Me too.
easily.
It's definitely, it's like my top two action movies of the past 20 years.
But yeah, I'd say Road Warrior is probably one of my favorite post-apocalyptic films because that takes place completely in the post-apocalyptic film. I mean, there's Terminator and that deal with post-apocalypse, but
Yeah.
that I would say, yeah, that yeah, Road Warrior is definitely up there. It's just it's funny because Road Warrior takes what they did in Mad Max and kind of expounds on it and just
So much more. Yeah.
it just goes into the, and then you get Thunderdome, which you're just like, wait, what? It's
Yeah,
like,
totally. And I love Thunderdome too. It looks so cool.
oh,
And
visually, yeah,
yeah,
Thunderdome is just, the story. A lot of people may not exactly agree with the story or whatnot, but the visually, it was amazing.
totally.
Yeah, and sci-fi and then sword and sorcery for me is always Conan the Barbarian. I just,
Yeah. That's
I
that's that's my favorite sword and sorcery one, for sure.
the soundtrack to it is my Desert Island soundtrack. People ask me and they're like, well, is it Star Wars or India? I'm like, no, it's Conan the Barbarian, Basil Polduris.
It's
Like,
so good. It's so damn good. Yeah.
when you've got the character who your main character, I think there's a 20-minute span where Arnold doesn't say a single line from when he's on the tree of woe to
Yeah.
when he gets to the Battle of the Dunes, the theatrical cut. He doesn't say a word.
I love that. That's so cool.
It's like 20 minutes. I timed it once. I'm like, holy crap. So, well, thank you so much, Justin. This has been a blast.
Yeah, it
And
was awesome to talk to you. Yeah.
finally getting to talk to you folks. Check it out. Where could they find Xanadu Hellfire now if they're a physical media collector or if they're looking for streaming?
It's on Etsy if you want the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray's jam-packed with extras,
Mhm.
so it's got a reversible cover. It's like a Scream Factory edition. It's super cool. And you can get that on Etsy right now. And if you want the link, if you just go to Xanadu Hellfire on Instagram, the link will take you right to it. And or you just search Xanadu Hellfire. We're trying to get it on Amazon, but they're having
Mhm.
issues. We're having issues uploading it there. Um, but it's also streaming on Tubi, which Tubi's so hot now, and everyone loves Tubi, loves free movies.
Everybody.
So it's free on Tubi, so go watch it now. And if anyone can rate it on IMDb, give it 10 stars. That would super help. That'd be awesome. And it's on Apple TV. So you can, if you want to rent it and if you want to own it and download it, it's on Apple TV.
Nice.
And it's going to be on, it'll jump up on Prime, Amazon Prime, probably within the next 2 weeks.
Nice.
And it's on 9 other places, but they're like YouTube channel type things, and
Sure,
they're
yeah.
they're all these
Yeah.
independent. There's all these cool independent ones now,
Mhm.
so it's all over the place. Um, and then same with Bloodsucker Jones versus the Creeping Death. That's on Tubi and Apple TV and 10 other places, and those are both Bloodsucker Jones are available on at Amazon. They both have reversible covers, chock full of extras. And yeah, we re-put out the first one on Blu-ray with new things. And and then right now we're in the middle of trying to put the first Bloodsucker Jones back onto streaming because it's
Nice.
not anywhere yet. So,
Sure.
but it was only shot in 720p, so it's like
Oh,
hard to get it QC'd and up there.
sure.
So, but we have all the posters made for it, and we have all the
Nice.
captions and everything. So, yeah, that's where you can get everything. We got t-shirts too, and you can
Awesome.
always message us. You can always find me on Justin Armao on Instagram, Bloodsucker Jones, Xanadu Hellfire. So you can find us there if you want to say hi, if you want to yell at me and say it sucks, whatever you
Well, no, it does not suck, sir. It's a
Yeah.
lot of fun, and I appreciate it. Also, I appreciate folks. You got to check out the Blu-ray because I've been reviewing now physical media for a couple of big studios, and they've lost the idea of creative menus and doing fun
Yeah.
menus. It's they're all the same template. You can tell they're all the same template,
Oh,
and
totally.
I'm like, oh man, I remember, you'd get a DVD and you'd have to figure out sometimes, how do I get to the one
Yeah.
feature?
And there would be Easter eggs and cool things, and yeah.
Oh yeah, but I love the menu and all the features on the Xanadu Hellfire Blu-ray. It's amazing. You have all that. And so check it out, folks. And thank you, Justin. And
Thank you.
yeah, hopefully we'll have you back when that Xanadu Hellfire 2 fight the Witches of the Wasteland comes.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for your support. You've been
You
a good
bet.
friend. You're awesome. I
Hey,
love your reviews, and you're just
thank you.
an awesome guy, and I appreciate it. I'm glad people like you are still out there.